Grab a cup, settle in, and turn it up. It's time for a couple of drips. Coffee, conversation, and occasional quips. Here's your host, Chris Granger.
Hello and welcome to another edition of A Couple of Drips. My guest today is known locally as the Nag, but that's really not an insult. It's kind of a genuine nickname, but I'll let her explain it herself because that's much better. Please welcome, aka the Nag, Natalie Gibson. Hello, Natalie. How are you doing?
Chris. I'm good, thank you. Really good.
Lovely to have you on. So why do they call you the Nag? What's that about? I mean, that's not a name that a lot of people would like. It's nothing to do with horses, is it?
No, it's not. Well, it's actually my initials.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course it is,
Yeah, even my own mum asked me,
Yeah.
why you call yourself Nag? Mum, you give me these initials.
Oh, yeah, that's Mum's
Yeah.
fault, yeah.
But
definitely.
initially it was supposed to be Energy Fitness, as in NAG, energy.
Oh,
And then my
nice.
ex-boss at the old leisure centre where kept calling me the Nag, and then did it in front of my clients, and then they kept doing it, and it just got stuck.
Brilliant.
So there you go.
That's awesome. So, I mean, we had Dave Deakin on a few weeks ago talking about you, and that's how we got in touch, in fact, through Dave talking about that. So what is the Nag ideology, as it were? He was talking about Nag Camp. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Nag Camp, well, I've always wanted to run like basically a boot camp
Yeah.
outside for years, but due to being full-time at as a fitness instructor, I was restricted because you have to work weekends.
Yeah.
So I couldn't consistently run an outdoor class. So
Yes.
when COVID happened, it was an opportunity to do it on Zoom at first.
Yeah.
And then basically I just pushed myself, well, you know what, once we were allowed outside, because we were allowed to exercise outside at the
Yeah,
time,
absolutely.
but not indoors. And I thought, well, what better way to do it? And it's just stuck. Get people fit, strong, and just enjoying
Absolutely,
it.
because in lockdown we were all putting on pounds. I mean, I've definitely put some on, that I could do with shedding. But so did you find it was popular? Did you find it had a good uptake?
Yeah, the thing with it, I found with especially the leisure centre I used to work at in Stone, my clients are amazing. They are very, very loyal to
Yeah,
me, and they've
yeah.
followed me pretty much some of them since the old leisure centre, the old Westbridge.
Oh, really?
And then followed me across
Fantastic.
to Stone. And then with
Yeah.
online, I was like, right, guys, how do you want me to help you? And we just, we worked together to come
Yeah.
up with it.
That's excellent. So what does it involve now? I hear you do morning videos and things like that. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what it actually involves?
Yeah, so every morning I do stories, pretty much. It's to just give free information about health and fitness. I like to cut out the bullshit for people.
Yeah.
As, and I just do it because I like it. At the end of the day, people don't come to a PT for information.
Yeah.
You could Google that.
Yeah.
You come to a PT because you want accountability.
Yes, definitely,
and
yeah.
a bit of support, to be honest. Know you're on the right track to do it.
Yeah, definitely. So what would you recommend for a boy like me who's put on a few stone over lockdown and has just hit 50? I mean, what sort of thing? Because obviously as a PT, I would imagine you come across a huge range of people of sizes, ages, abilities, so on and so forth. So what would you recommend as a starting point for someone like me?
Yeah. If it comes to being active is one of the main things,
Yeah.
but do things that you actually like doing.
Yeah, right.
So if you don't like running, don't run.
Yeah.
If you don't like swimming, don't swim. If
Yeah.
you like walking, go walking. Walk
Yeah.
is the most underrated thing to do as an activity.
Absolutely, yeah.
And nutrition, I think people again complicate it.
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to like to snack in between meals. And I'm like, well, maybe 3 filling meals
Yes.
a day. Again, food that you actually
Do
enjoy.
you know what? I can vouch for that there because I am the worst person for kind of either snacking between meals or eating late at night
Yeah.
when I don't need to eat.
Yeah,
And
just
then, of course, you're
boredom
going to
sometimes.
bed and the fat is sitting with you all night. I've stopped doing that recently, and I won't say the weight is dropping off, but it is the combination of that with the walking,
Yeah.
definitely is helping. That's brilliant. Before it goes cold, shall we have a look at this coffee?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
eyeing us off, there's two
Oh,
there.
yeah, I tell you what, it's absolutely staring at us.
All together now.
1, 2, 3, 4. Coffee time, it's coffee time. It doesn't matter if it's your place or mine. Coffee they call the wine of Arabica. Brewed in a vine and it's better than tea.
Never gets old.
No.
So today's a little bit unusual because Nat, I bow down to her. She's the first person ever to turn up on the podcast with her own coffee, I have to say. Now, I'd already got a coffee for us to taste, but she's turned up with a coffee. So we're in the very privileged position today of doing a 2 coffee tasting. So which one do you want to do first, Nat? Do you want to do red or green first?
Let's do reds.
Let's do red first. Okay, so red is at the back.
Yeah.
We'll just reach for the coffee. Okay, so do you want to tell us a little bit about this before we try it, Nat?
Yeah. So it's a Contact Coffee company. This one's called Red On. They've got different flavours. Hence, Red On's to do with, apparently, I asked my friend who got me into this coffee. He's in the army. His name's Jake, and his friend runs Contact Coffee. So he introduced me to that.
Right,
and then since then, we've gone halves on subscriptions for it.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, it's...
So you can get this on subscription?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
I think they're in a lot of shops
fantastic...
now.
There'll be a picture on the episode description, but it's a red bag with a bullet on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that suggests it's going to be a strong coffee.
Yeah, it's strong.
To start with. Nice. I mean, we've had things on here before. We've talked about things. Chris Baxter, guitar luthier, and ex-army weapons expert, actually, was on, and he was talking about... I'll try not to headbutt the mic. And he was on talking about Skull Crusher coffee.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Which I've not tried, but I hear it's lethal. But a coffee with a bullet on, I mean, that's definitely sending out
It's a win,
message,
isn't
isn't it? So you say subscription, where just online
Just literally their
subscription?
website. If you literally search Contact Coffee, it'll
Brilliant.
come up at the top.
I'll put a link in the blurb anyway.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go. I'm gonna do the annoying coffee git slurping.
Go for it.
Spraying on the tonsils. It is a dark one. It is a heavy
It
coffee,
is.
but it's very nice, actually. It's not
It's
bitter.
a nice
'cause
aftertaste, I think.
Whenever you go and have a dark coffee, I think it's going to be bitter. You know, it
No,
isn't
it's not.
at all.
This one
It's
isn't.
very, very nice. I'm absolutely fascinated by that packet.
It's great, and
It's like it's kind of like a map with a bullet
Yeah.
on it. It looks like if you were some kind of international assassin, this is
Yeah.
the coffee.
The branding's
you drink.
amazing.
It's great, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
I really
very
like
cool.
that. And this is ready ground,
yeah.
and it's still incredibly fresh. Actually, it's still very, very fresh.
It's definitely one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Because I'm as personal trainers, we
Yeah.
love coffee
Oh,
because
okay.
we're up early in the morning.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, actually. My girlfriend Kelly's come up with some great questions for you. And one of the things was, I'm going to find the notes. I was going to do this a bit later, but
It's all right.
seeing as you brought it out,
Yeah,
the relationship, what are the effects on coffee of health, stamina, focus, etc.? And what's your view on coffee from a personal trainer's point of view?
I think like anything, if you do it in moderation, it can be fantastic for you.
Oh, okay.
You know, but there is a point where people have too much coffee.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they recommend no more than 400 milligrams a day, but
Yeah.
that could vary from person to person.
Oh, okay.
But it's brilliant for alertness.
Yeah.
If you're doing long distance or endurance sports,
Ooh.
there is evidence that it helps enhance it.
Really?
They're not sure about weight training, but for me, if a placebo works, I feel quite
Yeah.
pumped having a coffee before I
Yeah,
work out.
yeah.
From a psychological point of view as well, there is evidence growing now that it can reduce the risk of Alzheimer's
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Parkinson's as well.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it.
Yeah,
coffee,
I was told by a
personally.
doctor once that it reduced the chances of bowel cancer
Yes,
as well.
yeah,
and things like that.
diabetes type 2, it can help. I think it's to do
Wow.
with the insulin. I can't tell.
Wow.
I couldn't go, if I went at too science.
because they put caffeine in paracetamol
Yeah.
to make it more quickly
Yeah.
absorbed into the
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm
there's some
guessing
kind of
it's to do-
delivery method.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But no, it's fantastic
Yeah.
for you. And and I think more evidence will come out later on. I mean, even taking caffeine tablets is supposed to be quite
really? Yeah.
effective, but I
Yeah.
just prefer to drink it
Yeah.
personally.
I'm not one for caffeine energy drinks, to be
No,
honest.
I'm not. No.
I like it's just too much sugar because whenever I drink fizzy drinks, I always drink the diet versions
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, fair enough.
Because for years I was just like, oh, it's too much sugar.
Yeah.
It makes your
Yeah.
teeth feel sticky,
Oh, it's just
kind of thing.
I prefer the diet ones personally
Yeah.
for taste.
Yeah, I do as well. I mean, a lot of people go on about aspartame or phenylalanine to
But
give
that's-
it its
that
proper
stuff's
name,
in
but
tomatoes.
it's in
It's
just
like-
about everything. It's just
Yeah.
about everything. And you know, anyone that's allergic, there's some babies can have an intolerance to
Yes.
it, but only up until the age of puberty,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it completely vanishes. It's a weird thing, and that's what the heel prick test for babies
heard,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how we got onto phenylalanine,
There
but
we
there we go. I'm glad I did my vocal warm-ups before I had to say phenylalanine.
You said it really well there.
Thank
'cause I
you.
can't
Thank
say it.
you. Aspartame. Yeah. Sweetener. Right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So this is a speciality Indian Robusta, which is really unusual because do you know about a Robusta and an Arabica? Do you know the differences?
I did hear a bit on the podcast with Dave.
Yeah.
But if you want to remind me, go for it.
Okay, right. Most coffee that's kind of posh coffee or most coffee we drink is based on Arabica. Arabica is coffee that needs to grow above sort of 2,000 meters. It's kind of light and sweet and it's more difficult to grow. You can't just grow it on your windowsill. Robusta tends to be a bit looked down its nose at by the coffee community. Having said that, it is essential. It's essential because about 20% of Robusta is mixed in with most Arabica to get your espresso coffees or your lattes, your cappuccinos. Robusta tend to be used as an ingredient in other coffees. Now, some Robustas are horrendous. I did James Hoffman, who's a big coffee broadcaster, I'll say, because he's on YouTube and he's got a podcast and everything. He did a thing called the world's biggest coffee tasting a few years ago, and a few people that I know got involved. And sample D was Robusta, and it was pure Robusta, and it was like drinking burnt tires and metal filings. It was the most horrendous flavour I've ever had. But if you mix Robusta in with other things, it can be. Now, obviously, this, because it's saying it's a specialty Robusta, is not a Robusta that tastes like that. But if you'd told me that this was an Arabica, I wouldn't have known. I mean, Robusta you can grow on your ruddy windowsill, you know. I mean, it's so hardy kind of thing. By the way, you'll never grow enough on your windowsill to actually make a single cup of coffee. But yeah, so I'm quite surprised when it says that. I'm just going to have a look at the notes. Single origin, 100% Robusta from Southwest India. That should be way more bitter. I can see it's high in caffeine because Robusta is higher in caffeine. But I'm totally blown away by that as a Robusta. Who in their right mind would sell a Robusta as a single source without mixing it with any Arabica? But a lot of interesting. I just have a moan here, just a second. Starbucks and Costa recently have started doing an espresso blend that is 100% Arabica. Don't do that, because you need a little bit of Robusta to give it that kind of, to give it the good crema on top of the coffee when you make an espresso.
It's all about that.
To give it that, and they're just 100% Arabica, and no, you're not supposed to make espresso with Arabica. You're supposed to make it with a blend. That's the whole point. And recently I went in Starbucks. Would you like to try our single origin espresso? No, single origin is for pour or drip over. You're supposed to use a blend for espresso-based drink. Sorry, I've a little bit of a rant there.
You know, it reminds me of that.
Yeah.
It's like when people moan about it's too much fat and sugar in something.
Yeah.
It's like, and they go, oh, sugar's bad for you, fat's bad for you. And I'm like, no. They wouldn't eat them on their own, but you combine them.
Yeah.
They taste fantastic.
Yeah, they taste incredible, and it's everything in moderation, isn't it?
You're not going to eat a bag of sugar, but you'll eat a cake.
Sugar's only bad if you don't burn it off.
Exactly.
You know,
if you're excessing the energy,
and
you're not eating a whole cake as your calories for the day.
Yeah. It's I learned a few years ago, because I lost a lot of weight a few years ago, and I put it all back on, unfortunately, but I lost a lot of weight, and I realised that dieting on its own and it's not dieting, it's a lifestyle change, because hop on, hop off diets don't work. But lifestyle change on its own doesn't work. Yeah, part of the change has to be doing the exercise, because the calories won't just drop off by eating less. You've actually got to exercise more as well. It's a combination.
It changes your mindset. There is evidence that people who work out and exercise, they're more likely to make better decisions across the day, because it's only 1 hour a day. You're going to exercise maximum, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not going to burn all your calories. It's the other 24 hours of the day.
Yeah.
So like I say, I run online groups as well. We encourage them to do something active, even just walk every day, hitting steps, because they end up making better decisions, like eating better. They end up not binging as much. You know, we also say, if you want a slice of cake every other day, have a slice of cake. That's fine, as long as you're eating your meals and
every other day, not
every other day. Yeah.
Not 2 per day.
Well, depends on what cake it is.
I think I've seen the root of my problem there, definitely. Every other day.
Don't worry, I'm personally, I'll freaking love cake.
Every other day. Yeah, I'm going to have to work on that one, I think. Brilliant. So let's try the second coffee
Round two.
now. So round 2 is, and you'd heard of this before we came in.
Yes.
How have you heard of this? Before we tell everyone what it is.
Again, my friend Jake, who's big into coffee.
There we go. I think we need to get Jake on the show.
He'd be brilliant to get
Actually,
on here.
I
He'd
think
be
it'd
such
be
a
great.
laugh.
Well,
Come on here.
we'll be doing 5 coffees.
Oh, we'd
going.
love it. Oh
Brilliant.
my God, yeah.
So what are we drinking now?
So we're drinking Miss Tita, which is peace and coffee.
Now,
What do I call it?
I've recently recorded a couple of specials for the members only section of the site, which aren't on there yet because I've only just recorded them. And we've tried, I showed you, didn't I, in the kitchen? I showed you the Miss Tita Jamaican Blue Mountain Pea Berry,
smells
which is
amazing.
incredibly rare and £75 a tin.
It's gold.
But it is gold, but it is amazing as well. And when I got it from Miss Tita and met one of the owners of the company, who hopefully is going to come on the podcast in the future, she gave me a bag of this as well to try, which she named Peace and Coffee, which is a lovely name. I
It
think.
is, isn't it?
Let's give it a go.
Yeah. That's good.
It's good, isn't it? It's very different
It
to the
is.
other coffee.
Isn't it? What a contrast.
But I'm still blown away by the fact that the other one was a Robusta and wasn't bitter as hell.
I'm enjoying that. That's nice.
It is nice. What
Yeah.
does it remind you of anything? Does it kind of?
It's different, actually. I don't think I've ever tasted a coffee like that one.
No.
Not compared to the other Blue Mountain ones I've had.
Yeah, with a lot of the pour overs and stuff, they tend to be kind of fruity. It's a medium roast, and it's a Jamaican Blue Mountain, but it's a Jamaican Blue Mountain blend. Again, let's have a look at the blurb on the packet. The interesting thing about Miss Tita is that the coffee growers, the farmers, are relatives of the people who buy and roast the coffee in the UK. So you know the farmers are getting a good deal because it's their family who are sending the coffee over. So does this have any tasting notes? No, not really. It just talks about Miss Tita being the grandmother. It says there we go. There are notes. A relaxing coffee with notes of rich milk chocolate, hints of roasted almonds, vanilla, and orange. I can definitely get some kind of almonds. It's kind of got a kind of woodiness slightly as well.
It's nice that the
which
chocolate.
all Jamaican Blue Mountain has. Yeah,
It's not as bitter, is it?
No.
Yeah. It's nice that both the coffees are so different.
I always think bitter as well is a really controversial
Yeah.
term with coffee, because particularly like if you get people who aren't coffee drinkers and you say it's not as bitter as that, when people start associating the word bitter with coffee,
It's
it
like
can,
negative
can
almost.
put them off.
Yeah, and it's not. It's
And yet it's not bitter, but it's difficult to describe that kind of rich, heavy kind of. I guess the closest thing would be like dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Sort of flavour, you
Yeah.
know. But it is very. It's like try and describe tastes, try and describe smells, try and describe sounds. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
it's
And every
really, really
person's gonna-
difficult. Yeah.
Find that flavour different to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping in the future that we can put this episode out with a scratch and sniff card, and that
That'd be great
people
one.
can.
Can you imagine that?
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
I love smelling coffee, never mind
That'd be
just
great.
drinking
That'd be
it.
great. So, what would you give this one out of 10? I haven't asked
I
you on
like
the other
using,
one yet.
I like using a 7 system.
So explain a 7 system.
Because it's not me who's come up with this.
Right.
But there's a doctor on Instagram called Dr. Mike II. And
Okay.
he loves using the 7 system. Because the idea is you can't go halfway.
Right. Okay.
You've got to go over or under. Whereas 10, you can say a 5.
Okay.
So you can either say 3 or you're going to
Yeah.
say 4. you
Oh,
know
that's
what I mean?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So, what are you going for out of a 7? We'll go with a 7.
So with the peace and coffee,
Yeah.
I prefer things more bitter.
Okay.
So for me, this would be a 4.
Okay.
It's still lovely.
That's
it's
cool.
enjoyable. It's
Yeah.
smooth. And then contact's always a 7. It's still my favourite.
There you go. Brilliant. Well, I'll put the link to both of those coffees in the blurb so you can have a look and make a decision for yourself. And I'll also put a link to Dr. Matt II because that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So, sounds like he's got some good ideas about systems there.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's lovely. So you were saying that they've got some other coffees in the range?
Yes, and they all variate how the flavours are. This is
Okay.
my favourite one out the bunch.
Yeah.
And they've all got names associated with the army.
Nice.
So this one's called Red On.
Yeah.
And you've got some that's called, I think it's Night Ops. I can't remember the other one's off the top of my head, but if you went on the site, you can see all
I've
the
got
names.
to try Night Ops.
Very cool.
That sounds
Yeah.
very cool.
But Red On top of my head, I think this is right. I asked Jake what it meant. He says when they're on the planes and they're about to jump out to parachute out, they have a light system when to go. And when the red on's on, they're getting ready to jump out the plane, basically.
Nice.
So I think it's pretty cool that they've gone down that route.
That is very cool, actually.
Yeah.
That is very cool. That makes you, that evokes kind of thoughts of like Top Gun music and things playing in the background and that kind of thing. Talking of which, there's a link. You say that caffeine is a great motivator and a great thing. Top workout tunes. What are your ultimate workout tunes? What do you like to exercise to?
You're going to love this because I'm so varied.
Oh, brilliant.
So if I'm lifting on my own, lifting weights, I like metal. When I say metal, I mean Disturbed. Again, I go old school, more Led Zeppelin.
Nice.
Or Metallica. I can get to that. Then I'm also into punk, though. So, like Fall Out Boy, Green Day. So I'm into that as well.
Nice.
But then if I want a bit of cheese, it's sunny and that. I'll have dance on and that. But even for example, like my first live concert I went to see was Incubus, who are a famous band in America.
I love Incubus. Amazing.
That's cool because not many people know about it. They were
fantastic
live. But then I went to see Step.
Is it Morning View, the big album of theirs? Yeah.
And then I can go from that to Steps, who I'm seeing live again this year. That's how varied my taste is in music.
Fine.
But if it's
from Disturbed to Steps,
I just got a varied taste. Like when I used to do Muay Thai boxing, when I was from the age of 12 till I was about 17, 18, we used to walk skipping with the weighted ropes.
Fantastic.
And he'd put on like trance music, like proper 90s trance.
Nice.
So because of the rhythm of the music.
Oh, brilliant.
So I love things like Entrance, Darude. So that's why I'm probably very varied. And then the family I've been brought up with, some are into like the big 80s, like Spandau Ballet. My granddad's into like Shania Twain and Annie Lennox. So I'm so varied. Depends
very
on my
eclectic.
mood.
Yeah.
I think
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And do you have a particular calm down, when you finished exercising, a particular kind of
if I want to
chill out song?
So for me, anything like folky or indie, like Mumford and Sons.
Yeah.
There's one song I'm addicted to at the moment for chilling out to. I think it's Willow and it's called Meet Me at Your Spot.
I don't know this.
You need to listen to it. It's a nice chill out one.
Nice.
But anything folky. But actually, when I'm chilling at home, I like listening to Lord of the Rings soundtrack. So again, that's how.
Oh, nice. I love soundtracks. Actually, I'm an avid vinyl collector, and I really seek out soundtracks and. Got some weird, obscure ones that I like, but one of my recent purchases, that's one of my favourite, was the score to Chernobyl. Seems really weird, but it's just because it's cool, because it's like a Geiger counter sounds mixed with orchestras, mixed with, I can't remember the lady, the composer, but she's amazing.
Oh, it's a female composer as
Female
well.
composer,
I didn't know that. That's
Russian
pretty cool.
female composer.
Oh, wow.
Can't think of her name.
It's probably
it's annoying, but I'll put a link. I won't be able to pronounce it, but I'll definitely put a link to that soundtrack in the blurb, because it's amazing. But I love soundtracks. I'm always seeking
Sets a
about.
mood, I think.
Yeah, when it's record store day, I'm always like, what soundtracks have you got? I'll get the soundtracks first. Chasing things online. There's a couple of unusual ones I've got.
They're great for walking to, by the way, or running. So in lockdown, I took up running because I couldn't do kickboxing.
Oh, okay.
So I'd think of things like Lord of the Rings when they're like trying to get the soundtrack for when they're.
It's hard to do kickboxing at 2 meters, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, to be fair. But I'd listen to like soundtracks based on stuff to do with being chased from soundtracks.
Okay.
So Lord of the Rings, for example, when they have to get their hobbits who are being taken to Isengard.
Yeah.
So that soundtrack, or when they get to Rohan, it's a great score. Yeah.
I quite like, and this is a guilty pleasure, but I quite like soundtracks to video games as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I love Battlefield and I'm trying to think. I like all the indie games and stuff. I've got You, which was a massive indie game. I've got that on vinyl, on multicolored vinyl. And I just love game soundtracks. Last Day of June, which I wasn't massively into, but my girlfriend played to death. And stuff. So love that kind of stuff. And as well as soundtracks, I believe when you're walking and stuff, you do kind of like listening to podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
Anything in particular you'd recommend?
Well, if you're into health and fitness, I do my own podcasts.
Yeah.
So,
tell us about that. Well, I didn't know about that. Tell me all about that.
So if you search on Outcast or Anchor or Spotify or Apple, it's the Nag Personal Trainer Podcast. No one else has got that
Brilliant.
name.
I will be adding that later.
But it's anything from health and fitness, from especially, I'll be honest, I do go towards female fitness because the thing with females is studies are really hard to do on females, whereas no offense to guys, but your hormones are level.
Yeah.
So for females, it's uneven.
Yeah.
So I tried to talk a bit more about that. There's a lot of backlash for like women wanting to do weight training and you're going to get big and all that. Or women shouldn't do this and that. So I do go into a bit more to try and encourage women to go and lift weights.
Forget the gender, do what you want to do.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You know, I was when I was brought up, the men in my family were fantastic. So my dad and my stepdad, they're not gay dads, by the way. Mum and dad separate. It's just I see them both and I call them both dads.
Gotcha.
It's an inside joke among my friends. So yeah, they encouraged me to play football. They encouraged me to do martial arts. Whatever I wanted to do, they encouraged me. And I want that for women, but also equally men.
Yeah.
But women need to understand they can do whatever they want.
And you were saying off air before we started that you get a lot of inquiries from prenatal and postnatal as well.
Starting to now, yeah. Basically, a lady contacted me recently and said there's just hardly anything around. And as being a personal trainer,
I would imagine that presents its own challenges.
Yes. Yeah. It's just knowing what they can and can't do. They want that reassurance, which I think that's like anybody coming to a coach. Yeah. And it gave me the push to do my pre and postnatal finally.
Brilliant.
I've been needing to do it for years.
So there's a separate qualification for doing that,
yeah,
obviously,
it's
for
more
safety
just the
reasons.
knowledge than anything. Because personal training, you can take them on. Yeah. But it just gives you that bit more...
Yeah.
And a bit of empathy because I'm not going to have kids. So I've not gone through that. Yeah. And I want to be able to at least understand what's happening. Yeah. So I can empathise with what's going on.
Yeah, I love kids, but I love to give them back.
Yeah, exactly. I've got nephews and I've got one on the way. So, you know, I'm happy to do all the fun stuff with and be the fun auntie and then leave them to it.
Yeah, I've got a niece and my sister, I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, is currently adopting. So, going to be another one in the pipeline.
That's cool.
There. So, this is a great question. I love this question. You're going to love this one. We've talked about podcasts and we've talked about coffee. And now I have to bring you on to best sporting montage in a film.
Oh, God, that's hard. Why have you done that to me?
Blame Kelly because she wrote that one down. She was like, best sporting montage.
It's got to be Rocky IV.
Rocky IV? I'm so pleased you said that. I'm so pleased you said that.
And I love the soundtrack.
You're going to laugh, but I'm so pleased you said that because Kelly said, I bet she says Rocky IV.
Oh, very specific as well. Not just Rocky, it's Rocky IV. It's a nice long score as well. Yeah. Brilliant. I actually play that in my kickbox exercise sometimes when I teach.
Yeah, it's a great piece of music as well, but it's just a great sequence, great montage.
Great for pre-workout. If you walk in the gym, put that on when you walk in the gym or driving on loud.
She'll be so pleased later when I talk to her and tell her that's what you said.
It's my favourite one of all the Rockies.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's the Dolph Lundgren, is it?
Yeah. If he dies, he dies. I love how you predicted that. My mate Kate, who I work with, she's going to be laughing about it because that's also her favourite, who I work with. So, yeah.
So what were the challenges of starting up your business during lockdown, which is what happened to you, wasn't it? It's like you decided to break away from working for the centre and work for yourself a little bit, and then lockdown happened. So what kind of challenges did that present and how did you overcome that?
I'm very lucky because Stone's a fantastic community.
Oh,
so I already
isn't it?
Yeah, I already had a great following. The clients are very loyal. Mm-hmm. So I already had a year of building up, but also I've been at Westbridge Park for 7 years. Yep. So a lot of them knew me already. You built that rapport with them. Like, you know, you knew everything. You knew who the kids were, the dog was, the cats.
Brilliant.
Whatever's going on in their life. And they know my life as well. Yeah. But when that happened, I'm not going to lie, that first week, and a lot of my clients know this, I was stressed to fuck. I've never felt that stress. Thinking back, I'm a bit weird. I love being in that situation a little bit. Because I like to see,
it's a motivator, isn't it?
Can I pull myself out of this? You know, I've got to literally change everything I do. We all had to learn how to go on Zoom, which is hilarious.
The stress is like a horrible peak, but when you get over that peak and you see the solution, that is such an adrenaline rush. Yeah.
And that was the main thing. I had to figure out what to do. So some of them converted to online personal training instead. Yeah. Some did. We used Zoom and actually coached through Zoom.
Fantastic.
It's a bit tricky at first, as we all knew Zoom was shit at first. And then they got a shitload of money off us. So fair play. They upped their game and it worked so well. So a lot of my clients, they updated their internet. They had made some amazing home gyms.
Wow.
And I was literally just in one of my spare rooms. Yeah. Coaching from there as if I'm there in person. Yeah. It was a bit tricky at first, but we made it work. Yeah. But it opened other doors for me to do my nutrition consultancy course. Yeah. As a personal trainer, you are nutrition trained, but I wanted to advance it a little bit more.
Right, okay.
Because on a personal trainer course, there's a lot to learn, and then it's up to you to go and carry on learning. So I took the opportunity
of course,
to do a
you've got to
course.
keep developing your learning, and you continue in professional development.
Yeah.
Once you qualify, that's just the start of the road. It's
Absolutely.
not the end of the road.
So I just saw it as an opportunity, and I was working 40, 50 hours a week before lockdown.
Wow.
And as most PTs will burn out, because I wanted to do as many hours on the gym floor as possible and help as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't have lasted if I did that.
No.
So it gave me an opportunity to change the way I work.
And you prefer working for yourself,
I
definitely.
most definitely do,
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad it's worked out for you.
Thank you.
That's brilliant.
Climb to fame, climb to fame. It's your chance to drop a name. Trying to outdo each other's kinda lame. One-upmanship is the only aim. Claim to fame, claim to fame, claim to fame, claim to fame. Thank you very much.
Claim to fame. This bit's always contentious and popular. So, do you have a claim to fame, Nat?
Do I? I know.
Could be a very long section if you don't. So, I mean,
I know, yeah. Claim to fame. Oh, well, I'll tell you something the other day. So,
go on.
with podcasts, for example, I had someone inquire with me
Yeah,
because he listened to my podcast.
nice.
They literally said, asked, some people have Alexas, there's Echo Dots in the house.
Oh, yeah.
She asked Surrey, said, can you play a podcast for women weightlifting?
That's awesome when you're coming up on those
Yeah.
computerized
She's
searches.
yeah.
You've hit the algorithm
And
somewhere.
I know,
Yeah.
I don't. But that was,
Yeah.
there was 2 people last week, and I said to my
Brilliant.
business partners, Kate and Meg, and I was like, someone's just inquired through my podcasting. I've never had this.
Awesome.
You know, because I didn't think that could happen. So
Yeah.
she didn't search for me through Instagram or Facebook.
Brilliant.
It was just, she searched on a search engine and you came up on top, she basically said.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, it really made me
That's
smile.
nice. I found with exercising particularly, because I really like mountain biking, really into it. But when I haven't done it for a while, the first day you go out is absolutely knackering. And the second day, you really don't want to do it. You're like, oh, shit, I was so knackered yesterday, I don't want to do it. And the second day you go out and it's just as knackering, to be honest. But it's the third day when you go out that you start feeling the benefit. Have you found that as well?
I love that, because this is what I say to clients: your first session or your first whatever it is you want to do will not be your best. You won't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you keep going and the more your body gets used to it, the more enjoyable it becomes.
Yeah.
And that's the same with anything, whether it's sport, weightlifting. For example, I started taking up paddleboarding.
Oh, nice.
And my first session, it was okay. I didn't fall in, actually.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was knackering, it was tiring. And
Yeah.
then after going for been doing it for about a year now, absolutely love it. Don't hurt after.
Yeah.
I'm ballsy about trying different tricks, like going to the front of my board, letting the board flip up, or
Yeah.
stepping back and turning.
So tell us about paddleboarding, because I know very little about it. What's involved?
Yeah. It's basically a big flotational board, like a surfboard.
Okay.
They come in different various sizes.
Right.
So we trialled at, where was the first place? Chasewater, near
yeah.
Brown Hills.
Yeah,
So we were
I
up
know
there.
Chasewater.
Yeah.
I did my skipper certificate there when I was 14.
How many
Thank
years
you.
ago was that?
Thank you very much. That was at least 10 years
At
ago.
least, yes. So yeah, and you can do it standing up or kneeling.
Yeah.
It requires quite a lot of core
Yeah.
strength, actually, because a lot of people tend to use their arms, but
Oh, right, okay.
but now we've
But
picked up the
it's
technique.
it's your body, isn't it, and your
Yeah, a
balance
lot of
and
it,
that.
yeah.
And it's bloody cold at Chasewater as well.
It is actually, yeah. Titsworth's warm because I go
Yeah.
Titsworth a lot, and that's the peak.
Do you wear a wetsuit or a dry suit? Or?
Oh yeah. You need, I just brought one actually. It turns out I brought quite a thick one for free.
Oh, well, that's all right. Yeah,
for,
yeah,
for
yeah.
this country, it's pretty all right. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty decent.
it's good.
And
It's
I finally
good.
got my own
You
paddleboard.
could go deep sea diving with one of those.
I go and say, yeah, that's what my mate said.
It's
So
like leather.
yeah. So we've got all our own paddleboards now because we've got that much into it, so we can self-launch. So
Nice.
as of tomorrow, all 3 of us are going to break our boards into the water for the first time.
Very nice.
Yeah, so
very
we're
nice.
excited. Yeah.
Excellent. Nice. So how did you get into that? What started you on that mad exercise?
Yeah, it's actually not strenuous once you get into
Yeah.
it. Your first session is your legs shake like hell
Oh, I
because
can
your legs
imagine,
are
yeah.
trembling from trying to balance.
Yeah.
Especially at Chasewater because they've got the wakeboarding on, so there's a lot of
Right.
waves. You're best starting on still water.
Yeah.
But my friend she had a friend who was into got his own board and basically said, "Do you want to come with us to chase water?" So we went and tried.
Try anything once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, anything active, and we loved it. So then we've been
Brilliant.
different places since then.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you was a new category that we came up with. What would be your ultimate podcast? Who would be your ultimate podcast, either guest or pairing or whatever? If, you could go to any time and place.
Yeah. I'd love to have Dwayne Johnson on. He's so cool.
Brilliant.
And I just love his work ethic.
Just you and Dwayne Johnson? Or just you and Dwayne Johnson?
Just sit there eating pancakes
That'd be
while
good.
we're just
While you're
chatting
working
away.
out.
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
He could bring his gym because he travels with his gym around the
That'd
world.
be awesome.
So we could work out, come on the podcast, have a break, come back.
Yeah, little tie clip mics.
Yeah.
And you're like...
But yeah, he's so cool because he's come from nothing. And I feel like I've came from nothing. We didn't have a lot. We had a great childhood and everything. But I understand we didn't have a lot of money at one point as well.
Sure.
And he's come from that background, so he knows that. He always reminds himself of that. But I just love how hard he works. But he's got a good humour as well. But I can imagine having a great time, having a good chat with him, and the stories he'd probably tell, especially from his wrestling days.
Yeah,
and then going into his acting and the training and how he does it.
It's been a long career, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he'd be very interesting.
Very motivational. Yeah.
Well, I had no female role models growing up, like into fitness, really. So all mine are male role models.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up now, there's plenty. You know, there's a lot more female role models, especially the athletics as well.
Come on, you had the gladiators.
I love the gladiators, but you do know I'm gay, don't you? So I probably looked at it a different way.
Yeah. Well,
But again, for me as a female, a lot of people think, I don't know, I wanted to look like Kate Moss or Victoria Beckham, but I did not. I was massively into anime.
Yeah.
One of my first
I love anime.
Yeah, my favourite one ever is Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, fantastic.
So instead of thinking, I want to look like her, unless I'm like, I want muscles. I actually wanted muscles. I loved the idea. Didn't care what men think, didn't care what females thought.
No, absolutely.
So when I got into when I found out Thai boxing was local to me, I straight away got into it.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. So I'd watch Dragon Ball Z episode and then go and train it. And the women there were phenomenal.
Yeah.
They weren't typical skinny women. They were strong. They could kick your ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great example. So so I started to see a few more females and thinking as in female role models.
Brilliant.
And there was one there. She was amazing. She used to fight a lot, and she was so cool. She ride motorbikes.
Brilliant.
She was into rock music, and she was one of the strongest. Person there.
Yeah, you must be really pleased about the rise of women's football
Yeah,
and that then, because a
incredible.
lot more positive female stereo role.
It's kind of always been an opportunity, but it depends where you were. So for me, I loved football growing up. My dad got me into it. I was a big Stoke fan growing up.
Yeah.
I don't watch football.
But it's never been as prevalent on the TV as it is now. It was always been pushed to one side, and then we just won the World Cup. And hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder if I was playing now, would I've got a different... Because I actually loved the idea of playing football for a living when I was younger. I said to my dad, I want to be a footballer. He's like, ace, because...
My niece just got into it, actually, and she's doing really well. She's really going for it. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
But the opportunity wasn't there for me. So primary school was when I was younger. Even the male teachers were very encouraging of women, girls and boys playing together. Yeah. And I loved it. So I'd have guys picking me for the team.
Brilliant.
Because they loved me even in defence, or they liked me on the wing.
Yeah.
Because I was good at hitting with my left or right foot. So,
nice.
But high school...
I was terrible. I was always like, you can go in goal, Granger.
Use the reach. But high school was... it was mad how this is. I hope this has changed. But so my first year in high school, I was in year 7. I was 12. Yeah. They had no under 14 football team, but the teacher let me play for the 14-year-olds.
Right.
The height I am now was the height I was at 12, so I could pull it off. I stopped growing then.
Yeah.
And the girls loved me on the team, so I'd play for them. But then she had other duties. Like teachers do, they'll have such demands.
Sure.
And the male teacher wouldn't take it. He basically told my sister that girls shouldn't play football. My sister told him where to go and got punished for it.
Yeah.
But the irony there, I know my sister was a really good football player as well growing up.
Brilliant.
But it makes you wonder.
Does she still play? Or?
No, not anymore. It's a shame because she was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So have you ever thought of going back into coaching or?
No, because I've gone back to kickboxing.
Right.
So when I left Muay Thai boxing, it was a 10-year gap. And then when I moved to Stone, I found out there was a martial art club nearby, and I kept thinking about it. I was just getting into the gym.
Yeah.
Because when I was a fitness instructor, I actually didn't use the gym that much.
Right.
I used to do bouldering, or I'd go running or train at home.
Yeah.
Or still practiced my martial arts on my own.
Yeah.
And then one day, I think I'd been in Mexico on holiday actually about 5-6 years ago.
Nice.
And I was mucking about in the room while my missus was in the shower practicing some Muay Thai, and I was like, I need to go back.
Yeah.
Because mentally...
Yeah.
I started to realise I appreciate how much Muay Thai boxing helped me mentally for my confidence and managing stress as well and discipline.
I was going to say, is it a very disciplined, because kind of all those sort of Eastern sports, to put them in a category, they're all very, everything from kind of Tai Chi upwards, everything is incredibly disciplined.
I mean, any sport is, whether it's football, I think
I
martial arts particularly, because it's all about, it's not, you got to respect the club, you respect each other, because you are trusting somebody else to hit you in the face and kick you, and they're trusting you to not. Well, let's say if I throw a high kick to someone's head when I'm sparring, it's not 100% power. They trust I'm not going to do that.
Of course.
And learning to respect that.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm the only girl who goes the club I go at the moment, and I respect them. The men could knock the crap out of me because I'm only 5'5", and I'm about 55k.
Yeah.
And they're all, apart from the one guy I spar with, but the advantage, again, even though I'm female, I have to respect that. Men have got a bit more power. Yeah. That's why men and women shouldn't be fighting in boxing rings, like professionally. Sparring's fine, inter-clubbing I've done it, but it's dangerous. We're not there yet.
Yeah,
We're quite far off. I'm not saying a woman can't beat a bloke, but trained fighters is different.
Yeah, I wouldn't stand a chance. I'm terrible.
Yeah. So the guys who fair, some of them are 6 foot tall, I spar.
Yeah.
And they're so respectful. It's a shame. I wish it was like that in gyms for women to be able to go in and think they're not going to think a man or a woman is going to judge them. In martial art clubs, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Because you can't come in and be an alpha. You can't come in and show off because you'd get knocked on your arse.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
So the men I've never had issues with men in martial arts clubs.
Yeah.
It's always been very cool, very respectful, and vice versa. I'm respectful to them.
Brilliant.
And I try to push that when I go into gyms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And explain to women, sometimes most guys actually think it's pretty cool seeing women lift weights.
Yeah.
But I get they feel self-conscious going in as well about it.
Do you watch Who Do You Think You Are on the BBC at all?
Seen it now and again.
Have you seen the Sue Perkins one?
No, not seen that one.
It's well worth watching because I didn't realise she was a boxer in her spare time.
No way.
Yeah, you need to watch it.
That's really cool. I didn't know that about her.
I didn't either until...
Wouldn't think it would,
it's like she went up in my... I already loved her anyway,
yeah,
but she went
Sue,
massively up in my estimation when I saw that. You need to watch it. It's on iPlayer. It's brilliant.
That is a cool
and
fact
she's
to know about her.
really good as well. She's really, really good.
Don't underestimate anybody, do you? Just shows you don't have to look a certain way.
But it's a great episode, and it's also a great story because I won't spoil the ending, but
I will watch that.
There's an amazing set of events.
Cool.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I like her anyway, but God,
she's
that's
very cool. Yeah, she's one of my favourite presenters. To be fair,
that is wicked.
Yeah, boxers or pants?
Pants.
Oh, okay. You see, when you said you're into sports and stuff, I thought you'd be a boxers person, but
pants. Because you get a bit sweaty in boxers. You need to be, you got to.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Thai boxers? So when you've got the shorts on the very high up.
Yeah.
And there's a weird habit. I used to do it as well because it's quite high on the waist. It's thick, like the boxer's shorts, but they're a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
We have a habit of pulling them up higher so we can kick higher.
Oh, nice.
Because they're in the way. Just psychologically, if I could throw a high kick higher, they pull them up tighter. So, it's more practical.
Oh, well done for challenging my expectations there because I thought you were going to say boxers. My girlfriend likes the boxers because she wears the oddballs ones. I don't know if you've seen
cool.
those.
Yeah.
They are incredibly cool.
Love the design.
But they're probably not the best for if you need unrestricted movement kind of thing.
We always joke about women wearing leggings. Like, I could always high kick you in the head if I always wear leggings.
Yeah. I'll remember that.
Yeah. Don't even need to warm up then.
So I'm just listening to your accent. Where are you originally? Because you're not from Stone originally, are you? But for anyone who's listening, because we have got some listeners in New Zealand, weirdly, you want to tell people whereabouts you're from?
So I'm from Stoke-on-Trent, and I'm originally from a town called Tunstall.
Tunstall. I know it well.
Yeah, so I do say cook book because that's how you say it.
Cook and book.
Yes,
Yeah. That's cook and book for anyone listening in America.
Oh, I'll say, like pour a glass of milk.
Yeah.
So I'll say that, but if you're ill, I'll say poor. Have you ever heard that instead?
That's okay. Yeah.
And poorly.
Yeah. No, that's all right. Yeah. Poorly rather than yeah, I think because I'm originally from Warsaw, but I didn't really grow up there. I mean, I've got no room to talk because I think we probably say poorly as well, or
I think you do actually.
yeah,
I've heard someone else from that way say
yeah,
it.
I mean, there's weird things with the Warsaw and weird pronunciations like certificate. They don't say certificate; they say certificates. I know it's weird, and there's other ones as well.
Love that.
Yeah, for years at school, I was mispronouncing that. And it wasn't until a teacher corrected me that I realised that that's not the received pronunciation for certificates. So, I mean, who inspires you as a fitness freak?
Well, like I said, back when I was growing up, there wasn't many females to look up to. But as I got older, definitely Kelly Holmes.
Oh, awesome. She's amazing. She's amazing.
If you're not following her, follow her Instagram. I can't remember if it's alpacas or... what's the other one? Llamas. I don't know which one's which. I always forget.
Yes.
She has pets of them.
Oh, wow.
Seriously, yeah.
That's a bit... You can't have a flap in the back door for that, can you?
Can you imagine that? Hello? This long head comes in.
It's just come in through the alpaca flap. Yeah.
Cat flap, alpaca flap next to each other.
Next to each other.
Yeah. But yeah, she's incredible. I mean, as some of you, if you don't know already, she came out gay this year, came out publicly about it.
I didn't actually know.
Yeah. I mean... I don't know if she was or wasn't before, if I'm dead honest.
Yeah.
You shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Well, it's not something you think of when you look
you
at
don't
people.
look at someone and go, oh, you're gay.
Go,
No.
Yeah.
It's like if people see me and my missus, we're not stereotypical looking.
Right.
So my missus is very good. I feel like I'm punching.
Yeah.
And, they'll always... lads will stop and try ask her how much she's with me. They're like, yeah, whatever. And you're like, no, really, she is. But yeah, Kelly Holmes is amazing.
Bless.
I mean, she came from she had to compete while in the army.
Yeah.
And they weren't paid. I mean, as a lot of people know, when they went to the Olympics back then, before we did it in England, they were not paid very well.
Right.
Like people were selling their medals to get back home.
Oh, shit.
And because of that, that's the one good thing Tony Blair did. He pumped money into was it 2012?
Yeah.
2012 Olympics. And because of that, we smashed it. The funding was put out and she was involved on that. And, had a great year doing that. And, I just think she's amazing. She was able to leave the army, but fair play, she trained in the army, which is physical anyway. Because I know her role was physical. She was a PT in the army as well. Yeah. So she'd be training all the lads in the infantry and the women in the other areas. So I think she's very incredible and very brave doing that because in the army it was illegal to be gay. Which I know sounds mad, doesn't it? But it was.
It's insane, isn't it?
It's only recently it's now legal. So that's why she had to keep it quiet for so long because it wasn't so much about the public. It was her role. Yeah. And that's understandable. That was her main career at the time. And and now she can come out and you can tell it's like a weight's lifted off her shoulders. But no, she's awesome. And if you're watching the Commonwealth Games at the moment, if you want proper inspo for the women, watch the Olympic lifting. It's nuts. I watched it back on BBC iPlayer the other day and it's just incredible seeing some of these women lift.
Lifting twice my weight. Yeah.
Well, one thing I thought, they're gone, There's one thing I thought of though. So I think it was a 75 or 79 kilogram class for women. Right. And there's a Disney film that came out last year called Encanto. And then there's a
I don't know that.
You need to watch this, And it's based on a family, and one of them's called Louisa, who's built like a weightlifting female.
Right.
And I didn't know this. Someone told me this. I don't know if it's a true fact. Someone wrote in and said, no one looks like me in this Disney film. So they based it on her, and they thought her doll wasn't going to sell well. They thought it was the girly sister. Yeah. Her doll sold the most because little girls want that.
Because it's a realistic figure.
So at the Commonwealth Games, I was like, this is what they look like. They look like Louisa from Encanto. I'm hoping little girls will look at this and go, you don't have to look this way or that way to be female.
Well, we've certainly gone in some directions I didn't think we were going to go in today. Let's finish with food because someone tells me you're actually, for PT, you're actually a very good baker as well.
I'd say I'm not bad.
Not ready for the bake-off yet?
People keep telling me to go on, but I think they just want to be entertained by my reactions on there. There'd be a lot of swearing anyway.
So what? Because I bake bread. What kind of things
okay.
What kind of things do you do?
I have done bread.
Yeah.
My first bread bake was like a Chelsea bubble. I made my own filling, so I created like an apple pie filling. So I do like to. With baking, you can't always wing it. Everyone's got to be spot on.
Cinnamon the apple pie.
Oh, anything with cinnamon in.
Yeah.
Anything with cinnamon.
absolutely.
I'm a big cinnamon fan.
Yeah, cinnamon swirls from Morrison's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Well, I get clients who start with me and they're like, "You're a PT, why are you baking? Isn't that bad for you?" I'm like, "Look,
Everything in moderation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Food's a spectrum. It's not black and white.
Yeah.
It's not good and bad.
No,
it's
absolutely.
spectrum,
Yeah.
and you can enjoy cake here and there. You know,
absolutely.
My first live, by the way, when I was on Facebook, was
Yeah.
called "Eat the Fucking Cake." A lot of my
Brilliant.
clients who are listening to this will remember that.
Brilliant.
If I ever find out, I'll have to try to extract the audio and put it out as an audio.
Brilliant.
It's hilarious. It was just to do with like. People tend to try and restrict and think that's going to work. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
if you're going to cut cake out your life or alcohol or any of your favourite foods, what are you going to do when you lose the weight?
Yeah.
Are you going to go back and eat it, aren't you? You know,
Yeah.
it's like when people go, I want to go teetotal of alcohol to just lose the weight and go, but do you want to give up drinking completely? And they're like, no, I would go back to, well, let's work a way to keep it in your diet
Yeah.
and still get results.
This is the thing that drives me absolutely mad about the word diet,
Yeah.
because diet has been misused to be
Yes.
a thing that you go on. Your diet is what you eat every day and what
Yeah,
you do
you already
every day.
have one.
Yeah, and it's shouldn't be a thing you hop on and hop
Yeah.
off. It should be a lifestyle
Yes,
change.
absolutely.
And something you're going to keep up for the rest of your life. So don't cut out this and cut
Yeah.
out that, because that's unrealistic that you're going to do that
It's
for
like,
the rest
what
of your life.
tweaks can you
Yeah.
make? What compromises?
Exactly.
So when
Yeah.
clients come in, they're very shocked when I say, I'll be cutting carbs. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're exercising. So it'll be like, we make tweaks and compromise. Like the other thing where people say, oh, you bake that, don't you eat all the cake? I'm like, of course I give it out.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
but I can eat a slice and leave it. I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
I get some people aren't.
That's
I
my
understand-
downfall. I struggle.
I
like-
understand that, yeah. So I would say cut
Have
it up,
cake, we'll
divide
finish.
it up and
Yeah.
go and take it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I like other people actually enjoy my baking.
Yeah.
So the reason I got into baking, one of my first mentors, she's also my client, she said, you need another hobby away from fitness now.
Right.
Because I was into anything to do with activity.
Sure.
As a PT, it's quite hard choosing a hobby, actually.
Yeah.
So it was either going to be, I go back to story writing, because I used to love creative writing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
interesting.
even wrote my own book when I was like 13.
Brilliant. That's
It's all
great.
sci-fi style, yeah.
Oh, tell me
Yeah.
more. Tell me more. Let's
Oh,
go
so-
down that hole for a minute.
What did I call it now? It was Blade something. And I can't remember what it's called now.
Well, based on Blade Runner or something?
No,
or-
actually.
No?
So
No?
this is really bad. I need to watch it. I have not seen Blade Runner. And I know I'm a
Wow.
sci-fi geek and I need to watch
Wow.
it. I
Yeah.
know. I'm pretty disgusted myself
Yeah.
too, don't worry. Like, Star Wars, Matrix, all that, I've watched it.
Brilliant.
Even Star Trek, old and new, I've watched it. But
Fantastic.
yeah, Blade Runner's
Yeah,
on my
Blade
list.
Runner is something else.
Yeah,
'cause
I
it's
want to
like
see the
a
old one
proper
first.
traditional.
Yeah, I need to see the
traditional
old
one.
one first and see the new one, which is what I did with Dune. I
Yeah,
watched the old one, then watched the new one.
The voiceover on the old one is a bit, it's
Yeah,
you can
you
see
gotta
why they
do,
made a
yeah.
director's version, but
Yeah.
you have to watch the theatrical release as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so creative writing then,
Yeah.
I used to write science fiction as a kid as
Okay.
well, because my dad got me into science fiction. It was the War of the Worlds musical record when I was about 7 or 8. And then we started watching science fiction, and on a Monday night watched Silent Running and all kind of stuff like that. Can you remember what your story was about?
Right, so I've just remembered the title actually. So it was called The Blade Gift.
Oh,
And as we all do, we're a bit vain as writers. You tend to write, the character's a bit on you, the main lead. And it's a bit like those who are into anime, Dragon Ball Z, or Superman.
Yeah.
She ends up getting flown to Earth to be protected for the planet was being taken over
nice.
by, say, the bad guy in the
I
story.
mean, not nice that a planet was taken over, but nice storyline. Yeah.
So she doesn't know. She thinks she's human because you look like humans,
Right.
just like Superman does in a way.
Yeah.
And she gets brought up by a so-called auntie. Who's not. Who's
Nice.
actually friends with her mother, who flew to Earth because she used to visit Earth quite a lot.
Right.
But then these powers start to kick in. She's able basically like call a blade from within her.
Yeah.
And it comes out like a spirit and ends up forming solid, and she can use it. It has
Wow.
elements with it. So hers is like lightning, and like a bit like lightsabers in Star Wars. They
Yeah,
represent
yeah.
different colours, personalities, different powers.
Wow.
It turns out she's got a twin brother as well, who was also flame, but because he found out the bad guy that she was there, he got kidnapped as a baby, and they didn't know if he was alive actually. And he ends up coming to Earth as well, like Orson in a high school,
Yeah.
and they're both suspicious of each other, and
Yeah.
he's out there, he's been conditioned to kill her. But he starts finding out the truth and stuff, and they end up having a showdown.
That sounds a
with the
very
bad
well
guy at the
thought
end.
out and developed story for a 14-year-old. Yeah, brilliant.
A lot of Star Wars and anime influence.
So do you still do the creative writing? Or?
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
'Cause as an adult, I'll be honest, you do lose creativity as an adult, and this is what I try to say to a lot of my clients about having a hobby, actually. Yeah. I know it sounds bizarre what's that to do with fitness, but again, like the snacking thing or the pleasure thing, food is our closest pleasure.
Yep.
As humans, we are designed to propagate and to stay alive, which is basically food is our biggest drive and sex is our biggest drive, believe it or not. And that's why people feel guilty about loving food. It's built in you to love it because it doesn't want you to die, your body. So you have to, in this modern world, we're very lucky in this country. We're not starving.
Nope.
Hopefully it doesn't happen. And, but the food's abundant. But technology's moved on very fast, but we haven't as an evolution. We're still a bit behind. So we need to train our minds differently. So that's why I say to clients, why you get into gaming or into reading, or for other clients go into an active hobby or even into baking if they're okay doing that. And that's why I'm into my baking. That's my switch off time away from fitness. So I still love my business. I still love being into fitness because if everything was fitness based, I think I would lose a love for it. And when you're, say, trying to lose body fat and diet, it's not something you want to do forever. It's not 100% enjoyable, but you can make it a bit more enjoyable by including something else that gives you purpose. Because when you're happier, you make better decisions. And clients that realise what a domino effect that has. As a PT, we're no longer just about eat this and work out this much and do this many steps. It's like, how does this person tick? How can I help them to convince them to do this and this for the long term?
Nat, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've taken me to areas of conversation that I thought I would not talk about fitness and sport and health and stuff, but Dave gave you such a massive good review that I thought I've got to have you on, and he said you're such a laugh, and he wasn't wrong. So thanks very much for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come on again at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me on as
You're
well.
welcome. Thanks for being on the show, and thanks for listening if you're listening. Take care. Thanks a lot, Nat. Cheers. You've been listening to A Couple of Drips. The show was conceived and presented by Chris Granger and is a Cup the Mic production.